This is a HeadGum podcast.
Fake the Nation, episode 268.
Hello. This is Fake the Nation, where we talk about news, we talk about culture, we talk about the human condition, and we recognize a day of Labor Week that we take off and use for rest. You know what I'm trying to say, folks. It's our Labor Day holiday episode, which means we have some dazzling conversations from the vault. I am your host, Negin Farsad, who has had those dazzling conversations. And I'm so excited for today's episode. This first little segment, I am joined by Chris Gethard and Jaquise Neal, and we talk about three girls who are dating the same guy. So check out this segment and enjoy. Okay, and next topic. I'm actually joined by comedian Chris Gethard. Hi, Chris.
Hello.
And comedian Jaquise Neal. Hey, Jaquise.
What's up?
And we read a story in the Washington Post about three women who discovered they were dating the same man. They dumped him and went on a month-long road trip together. First off, what do you think of, I don't know, how did this story, how'd you react to this story?
You know, this is what movies are made of, right? This story has been told many times, and you always think, no, it'll never happen, and it happened, and
it happened.
This is a movie. You know, listen, if I was the guy on this front, it's very interesting to. We all know people have talked about us in life before, right? But there are very few instances where we know. I can set an exact time where I know my name was talked shit about. Boy, my name was drugged through the mud, and my man knows.
Are you saying that you dated three women simultaneoly who then met each other and went on a road trip?
The story is about me. Yeah. But you know they was talking some shit.
Oh, yeah.
You know they was talking some shit. Rightfully so. He deserves it. But it's funny. This is funny. I mean, good for them. Friends show up in all the right places sometimes. And there's nothing like taking a road trip and bonding over getting fucked over. In whatever way you've been fucked over. So I thought this was a delightful story.
And just so we're clear, like, he had claimed exclusivity, which each of these women. Yeah. They're like all like 18, 19, 20 in that age group. And they had been with him, I guess, like, some of them had been with him like in high school, and he was 20. So these are like late teen kind of emotions we're talking about. Also, they decided to go on a road trip, and it's not like they decided to go on any old road trip. They actually bought a 30-year-old school bus together and then converted it. You should see the photos. Yeah. The interior looks amazing, like a Crate and Barrel catalog. and they're going not on like a simple week-long whatever. They're going for months, and they're currently still on this road trip. Chris, what did you think?
I have to say, I'm sitting here laughing at how shockingly similar my reaction was. That, you know, just reading the logline, I went, I can't wait to see this movie. I'd like to think that I've been pretty above board in my date. Like even in my like shittiest singledom, I think I've been a pretty above board person by and large. I would hate if you took the three people I dated where we had the most pleasant breakups, like least ill feelings, and you put those three people in a room together. Yeah, I'd hate to see what they had to say about me. Yeah. Like three people who I'm still friends with, like three people who I still text with and even make an effort to see from time to time. I'd hate for them to be in a room together comparing notes. I'd hate that. And I think I've tried to do things in a pretty above board way now, let alone what this jamoke pulled.
That
is a nightmare for all involved.
I also just want to say about the dude, like, it's quite impressive. Just what he did is wrong. You know, don't lie to people and toy with their hearts. But just on a level of like logistical coordination, I mean, that's very impressive.
Just on like the Mrs. Doubtfire balancing act that
right.
on 2 dates thing.
And
I
at
mean,
20
he also-
too, like young.
Right. Like, and
Yeah.
he had an Instagram account. They all would comment on his Instagram account without knowing. Like, it's so fascinating how long he was able to keep this up, and that he had the energy to keep it up, because he's a student, by the way, in some university. So it's like he was going to school and keeping up this ruse. Like, when I was going to school, like, I was too busy figuring out what a hangover was for the first time, and too busy just like doing my sketch comedy group and like being really awkward around people. Like, I don't know. It speaks to a level of confidence that this fucking 18, 19, 20-year-old dude was able to like keep this going for so long. There's a part of the story where he shows up to one of the women's houses and with a bouquet of flowers. And she opens the door and she's on FaceTime with these two other women. And she's like, look, I've made new friends. And he's got flowers. I was like, what 20-year-old guy has the like Casanova wherewithal to buy a bouquet of flowers? It's like not a very, like, did you guys buy flowers for your like girlfriends when you were a teenager?
I mean,
no.
On Valentine's Day, and
Right, like not on a regular Tuesday where you're just trying to look suave and cool, right?
You got a teddy bear and some chocolate, you know what I'm saying? You got a teddy bear and some chocolate, but we was going somewhere like afterwards,
Right. Like it was a specific situation.
Yeah.
I also just want to ask this guy, why didn't you just say you weren't exclusive? Like, just say I date a lot of people. We're not exclusive. Like, it's 2021. Why? What is the point?
Well, it's hard to be selfish when you're being honest. It's hard. It's hard to do. So he
right. Those things don't often coexist. I guess.
he wanted to keep clapping cheeks and not get them cheeks taken away. So,
do you think he had a night where, as things unraveled, he had like a diarrhea attack moment? Do you think he had that moment of panic? Because that would make it worth it for everybody.
It's funny because like when you ask that, I think I would, yes. But I also wouldn't date 3 people at the same time exclusively. So
right.
Like in my mind, he's just like, oh, they found out? Shit.
He might be that guy.
Fucked up. Well, I guess I better go on to the next one. Like, that's how I think he might be that guy where he's just like
you don't think that this was a learning moment for him.
I doubt it. I mean, maybe now it will. When he see the movie that come out on HBO Max in a few years, he may say, you know what, I was fucked up, especially because these 3 women had the wherewithal to take me on a beautiful trip. Like if I would have just stuck with one, we could have got our own bus together and traveled. Like he actually fucked up. He fucked up, like, because the trip they took.
3 women who are good at like bus carpentry. By the way, what are the odds?
You gotta hold on to them, to those people who are good at stuff like that.
I mean, so Chris, when you were talking about these women that you've had breakups with that were like amicable breakups, one thing that I thought was interesting is that these women chose not to name him and like shame him publicly, Mm-hmm. And I thought that was really nice because it's a little bit like, hey, this is ultimately, it started because of you, but it will. The rest of this journey is not about you,
What I really love about that too is part of why didn't he just say he didn't want to be exclusive? It's a power trip, right? It's being in charge. It's playing a game. It's getting off on having all that knowledge. And I do think there's something that's pretty cool about going like, we're not going to name your name, because in some ways that probably drives that type of dude nuts more than a public shame.
Right.
He can probably flip a public shaming into being like, and now I'm that guy who's going to get all these dudes are going to buy. He could go become one of those pickup artist types, right? And just make that his
right. Some side with the rules or whatever, the kind of guy influencer,
but now it's these women going like, we're not going to shame you, but you know we know. And that gives them more power over him than the actual shaming itself, I bet.
Like in the movie, like he would have been like,
that you've already produced and directed this film.
Yeah, but if they would have named him and stuff, it would have made him bigger. And in the movie, he would have been played by like Robert Pattinson or Chris Hemsworth. Now he's gonna be played by some unknown who will never work again after, like he won't get no play. Nobody will ever know who he is. And in many ways, that's worse. That's worse.
You know what? I wonder now that you guys are talking about him kind of like missing the part where he gets publicly shamed, if he does come out and say, because this was covered in the Washington Post, you know what I mean?
Solid hit.
It's a solid hit. By the way, I feel like the bus needs to be covered in some sort of Dwell magazine or something because that is its own story. It's just like the before and after of like a breakup pseudo revenge bus renovation. But I can imagine him coming out and being like, that was me. Because I do think there's room, if we want to just be gross capitalists about this, in the way that Jaquise was saying, like there's a how-to guide, waiting to happen, because I am baffled by the logistics again. I'm baffled by the logistics. And I guess my question is, have you ever learn that you've dated someone that someone else dated, and what did that create for the two of you?
Like simultaneously?
Not simultaneously, just like at all. I mean, or simultaneously, but like it's probably like, did you meet someone that's like dated a former girlfriend?
No, I never have.
I can tell
Chris,
you.
has that ever happened to you?
I will own up to something kind of scummy on my end.
Oh, please, lie. Yeah, let's hear it.
But not that scummy because first of all, nothing was exclusive. I was in a stretch where I was very single. I once had a situation where, look, anybody who knows me, even in passing, I have confidence in my own way, and by performing, I have earned confidence, but I am a nervous fellow. I live deeply in my own head. This has always been the case. We look up Google image search me, everybody. I'm not, I'm not Gosling, I'm not a great looking person.
You look great, Chris. You look great.
Hey,
Listen,
you're someone's Gosling,
I'm lucky I'm funny. I was single once, and I'm trying to just remember all the logistics in my head as I sort them out. Basically, I was asked out. Okay, I was performing. I was in Brooklyn. I had not been single, and all of a sudden I was single, and a girl asked me out, and that didn't really happen ever in my life. And I didn't understand that, like, when you're a performer and you reflect that confidence, and like you're an interesting person, and that people are not shallow, and they go, "Oh, you're a talented person, and I like you." I was asked out, and I thought that was very cool, and I organized a date. And then another girl asked me out and told me that she wanted to go out with me on another date, and then said what day she was available. And it was the morning of the other date.
Okay. 2 dates in one day.
And I called a friend of mine and I said, I'm going on a date already with this girl. I've seen her once. It's not an exclusive thing. We're going out late. She can only meet late. Another girl wants to go out, but she's going out of town, and she hit on me on Facebook. This was back in the day when that happened. This was before dating apps and everything. So Facebook effectively kind of was a dating app.
Was a dating app.
And she said, I'm going out of town, but why don't we get brunch on this same Saturday? My buddy just goes, look, and this is a guy who's known me since I was 13 years old. He's like, you're not a jerk. I've never seen you really be a jerk. He's like, these are two, one of these is a first date, one of these is a second date.
Yeah.
It gets worse. Just keep listening.
Okay.
He goes, he's like, at the end of the day, he's like, are you going to want to take them both on the dates? I go, yeah, I would love to take each of them on a date and see what happens. And he goes, you want to have the story that you Just do it. Just go for it. He's like, you won't, it's not that bad. Just like, don't be a dick about it. It won't be that bad. I go, all right. So that was on a Saturday. And then I cannot lie, I was just on this streak where, because also I was pretty mentally unhinged at the time. And I think the combination of being like a performer who I think it was clearly a pretty nice guy, but was also kind of losing it. There's an excitement to that people were attracted to, you know, like in Brooklyn in the mid 2010, this was around. Like, there was appeal to that. Let's run around and stay up all night and just be crazy artists. And I will not lie, the Friday before that Saturday, I did a show, and a girl who we had flirted a bunch was in the crowd that Friday, and afterwards said, "What are you doing now?" And we wound up going home together. And I was sitting there going, I'm going on 3 quote unquote dates within 24 hours. Very unlike me. Do I regret it? To some degree. I don't think it was the coolest 24 hours of my life. But at the end of the day, you live, you learn. I sit here, I go, I feel good about the fact that people are interested in me in this particular juncture in my life. It feels good to have interest. But then I also said, this is not me. I can't get caught up in this. I don't want to sit here thinking it's fun or cool to play games. So what I need to do is be upfront and honest. And I wound up dating one of those girls for like 2 months and shut everything else down. It was 2 months and said, it's not me. So let me go ahead and say, clearly this is the person who I think has the most potential. And I'm not going to get off on it. I'm not going to go, I'm this guy who can sleep with a different person every night. I'm going to go, okay, you live, now rein it in. Don't get addicted to this. Don't be a jerk. Don't think that this is the end goal. Chill out, take a breath, be who you are. But I did that once. I did that. Notorious nice guy Chris Gethard once did that.
Chris,
I feel like that.
You're okay.
It's okay. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I did that a fair number of times.
I can also say that dating apps have thrown the standards of pre-dating app to my friends who are on dating apps. I'm like, whoa. I'll be like hanging out with my buddy who's big into the apps. I'll be like, you got to slow down. He's like, no, people don't wait. He's like, people aren't sitting around waiting till next Friday for you to take them out. So you take everybody out all the time. So that's just back then. I was like, this is not me. I'm like a serial monogamous.
Right. No, it does not. Your story feels very mild.
Yeah. And what it sounds like to me is you deprived those 3 people from their road trip. That they could have taken and could still be taken from. You deprived those 3 dates of a lifelong friendship.
You'll be happy to hear they all 3 run a small business together. They run a pet grooming business together.
Okay, all right. So listen, you did it.
I have a fetish for people who are into grooming pets. They got together. They all do it together.
Folks, I feel like this was just a telling segment. We learned a lot about Chris.
And are people sitting here going, "Oh, Gethard thought that was badass. What a fucking dope."
No, I mean, I think it's like, no, you're not a dope. It's just that, like, it's not that bad. If you did that all the time, I think it would be bad. But you didn't do it all the time.
And that's what that guy thought was cool. That's the thing.
Right. He did it all the time.
Who gets into situations like that and in their heart believes that it's fine. That it's cool. Yeah.
That's weird. That's weird.
Yeah.
I don't even know because I have a hard time sleeping at night over dumb things, that I feel like, was I exactly ethically, morally correct in this situation where in which I took the larger half of the muffin when we were splitting a muffin? You know what I mean? Like I feel so terrible about the most dumb things. So I can't imagine just like living like that for years and being fine with it. Listen, folks, we've run out of time. Please take Chris Gethard's lead and share with me the times when you believed you were a dirtbag. I would love to hear them, especially if they are generally as gentle as Chris Gethard's. Oh my God, you guys, thank you so much for being with me. You are both so utterly delightful. Yeah. And because of your utter delight, I would love for the people of Fake the Nation to be able to follow you and all of the wonderful stuff that you do. Jaquise, where do they do that?
Oh, well, listen, first of all, thank you for having me back. It's always a pleasure. You're great, so I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Jacques Neal on everything. JACQUISNEAL. Easiest way to find me. If I'm not in these streets, that's where you can get at me.
And remind us the name of your podcast.
Yes, The Cast with Ray and Jacques. We cover big moments in reality television history. And from those moments have built a cast of 12 of the top reality stars of all time.
It's a HeadGum show, by the way. So
show.
we are show sisters and brothers.
Yes, so go check it out.
Siblings.
It's fun. We have a good time. We have a good-ass time.
Chris Gethard, where do people find you?
When I'm not out on these streets, you can find me at chrisgeth.com, Chris Geth on Instagram, Chris Gethard on Twitter and Facebook. And if you're looking to come to a live show, I'm probably coming to your city, and all the ticket links are at chrisgeth.com.
And let's take a quick break to learn about our sponsors. And when we come back, we'll talk about other things. Oh my God, folks, Toast Before You Drink gummies are a delicious candy quality gummy bear, except they're unlike other gummies. These gummies are designed to restore key nutrients and support your liver so you can celebrate and still feel great. For years, I just felt so prone to headaches after drinking that I just kind of wasn't ever drinking. I threw a pack in my purse on a Friday thinking at some point that weekend I was going to have a cocktail. And I did because my friend was in town. We had a cocktail on a rooftop. It was magical. And I got a little of the buzz from the drink without any of the hangover the next day. Yeah, I actually watched this amazing video on their website about the science of it, what's in there, what happens when you get a hangover, why the stuff they put in their gummies works for it. They partnered with Joris Verster, who is a clinical researcher and a founder of the Alcohol Hangover Research Group. Guys, I love the Alcohol Hangover Research Group. I didn't know it existed, and now I know. And it makes sense because they developed this proprietary formula using only the best science-backed ingredients. So Before You Drink gummies are the gummy bear snack that's got your back. So go to alwaystoast.com. That's alwaystoast.com. Use the promo code FAKETHENATION for 20% off. It's a great deal. It's a great product. Go for it, guys. I highly recommend. We are back, and we're ready for our next segment where I'm joined by Monet Exchange and Ophira Eisenberg. By the way, since we taped that episode, the news has come out that Mike Richards is actually no longer going to be hosting Jeopardy. A bunch of weird stuff came out about his past, stuff that he said on podcasts in years back. So he was actually cut from the show as the host. And I don't know what's going to happen next. I do know that LeVar Burton was again immediately trending on Twitter. So let's see what happens. And now it's time for our next topic. And for this topic, I am joined by comedian and radio host Ophira Eisenberg. Hey, Ophira.
Hello, Nagin.
I am also joined by a podcast host and RuPaul's Drag Race drag queen, the very wonderful Monet Exchange. Hey, Monet.
Hello, Nagin.
So today we have a little cultural grab bag of a couple of topics we're going to tackle. The first is we read a ridiculous piece in the Times called "The Best Way to Respond to Text Messages," and it is largely about the ha tap back on iPhone. So if you don't have an iPhone, it's just a feature you can tap back to a text message with one of these pre-baked emoji things.
Mm-hmm.
It's a heart, a thumbs up, a ha,
Exclamation.
Exclamation.
Thumbs down.
Yeah.
Don't forget thumbs down.
Which I've truly never used. I've truly never used the thumbs down. Have you guys ever used the thumbs down?
Someone's used
for
it on
sure.
me. Oh, okay. Someone used it on me once, and I was
Okay.
like, how dare you?
Yeah. So was it you said something and they were like, boo, that's the worst text I've ever received?
Well, I think it was something like can't make it or, something like that. And it was a boo. So I was like, I get it.
Got you.
But also, I do feel
It
like they
felt
should all
bad.
be positive. I don't know
Right.
why.
No, I agree.
Well, I
yeah.
think that the exclamation is reserved for group chat. I mean, for the thumbs down is specifically reserved for group chats.
Right.
Like in a group chat, if someone's like, everyone's like, let's go to Disney. Someone's like, oh, we should go to Universal. You get that person a thumbs down. Like, girl, no one want to go to Universal. You want to go to Disney,
Right.
So you want to just make that be known. And then I love it when everyone else does. So like 13 people have thumbs down their suggestion. Ooh, it feels so good.
Oh my God. I've never even seen that many thumbs downs in a situation. Okay. I feel just like hurt by that. I wasn't even in there. So it's funny because the tap back is basically, according to Apple, it's quote a way to quickly reply to messages with expressions. But it actually, the way this writer points out, it kind of shuts down conversations because like, how do you guys use those tap backs? I use them if someone says something and I'll do like a thumbs up or a heart or whatever, just like duly noted, see you later. You know what I mean? That's kind of mostly my way of doing it.
Yeah, it's also it's the end too. Like if you're in a bit of a thread with someone and then like someone has to call it. So bye.
Bye.
I feel that also. But sometimes when depending on how close I'm with that person, like if it's someone that I talk to a lot, I always follow up the tap back with something like, okay, cool, or all right, later. But just ending it with the tap back feels a little cold. I'm like, oh, I thought we were friends, girl. Damn.
You're right. Well, I mean, and then in the case of haha in particular, I mean, where are you with that? Because one of the things this writer Todd Levin in the Times wrote that he had very needy comedian friends. Actually, was like I felt very pointed out. I felt like a finger wagging by this fucking article. But he said that his comedian friends were so needy, and the tap back basically has saved his friendships because he wouldn't ha-ha them before, and now with the tap back, he is just like ha-haing them. It's a lazy ha-ha. You know what I mean?
Very lazy.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so lazy it doesn't even capture for me the like an actual feeling of like I think something is funny. So I will go through the process of typing haha multiple times if I think something is funny. I will also write back the words laugh out loud, like in full, not LOL, like straight up laugh out loud.
Yeah, good.
Like I'm some sort of Victorian gentleman from the 19th century, right? Like writing on a calling card in calligraphy. And because I feel like haha is too... Obviously, it's a dismissive laugh that means nothing. You know what I mean?
It's so funny because sometimes I want to convey that I actually think something is funny. And I've sat there and gone like, if I just put a ha right in HA, that seems almost rude.
Oh, yeah.
And then if I go,
it's like you tried. Right.
That's overdoing it.
Yeah.
It's condescending or something.
Yeah, the culture of LOL, LMAO, ha ha, and ha. Or there's also the LOL, the LOLOL. That's 3 L's and 2 O's. That one is like, oh, I'm laughing out loud, but a little more. I don't know. It's all very, very, very slight. There are slight gestures or a slight messages you're sending with each and every one of those. It's very tricky.
Well, it's funny because the writer Todd Levin actually pointed out, he wrote ha 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 ha. Looks great on paper, feels great in a text thread, but it's anarchic. Not only does it make the ha suddenly appear patronizing, as you said, Ophira, it sets a terrible new standard because there is no standard. How many ha's are enough? Right. In any group thread, the ha string quickly leads to nightmare scenarios. Which I think is really fun, which is true. That's sort of like, yes, that's funny. Okay, the next thing is funny. Was it funnier than this thing? How many? But I already used like 10 ha's in the other thing. Do I now need to use 12 ha's? It like the calculations become out of control.
What if we did the kind of thing that, kind of comics do in real life and just wrote back funny?
Right, because comics don't laugh.
Comics don't laugh.
Right. I feel like you could only write that to another comic.
Right.
Because a civilian, I don't know. I mean, Monet, you're like not a comedian, so you're not a great example. But would your civilian friends find it really off-putting if you just got a text back that wrote funny?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'll probably be blocked. I'll probably try to text them back and my text would go green. Like, oh my God, they blocked me. I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
I meant ha-ha.
I know there's something so unfeeling about it. Here's what I want to see if any app developers or cell phone, whatever, tap back developers or whatever the fuck they're called are listening to this podcast. And I know that they all do. So please write this down. I would like some audio tap back options of different types of laughs. Okay, I want an MSG Arena laugh. Okay, I want like a really fun audience, but really small, like at a back of the bar show, like that they're having a great time despite being small in numbers. I want a full comedy club. I want a socially distanced comedy club. Like I want a wide range of laugh options.
Nikki, you should not be saying this out loud. This could make you a millionaire, and you were giving it away.
Fuck. You're right.
One of those mocking ones where it's like, ha. Like
right, yeah. No, a forced laugh. I want one. I mean, guys, if you guys want to join in with me in this new tap back that I've already developed and trademarked, and it's too late to steal it from me, feel free to call yourselves founders.
I'm just saying, on iOS version 17, Big Leopard Snow Queen, whatever it is, the next one, when that is a feature, you're gonna be like, oh my God, they stole my idea.
I know, totally. Okay, so let us move into another major burning issue in pop culture, and I don't know, is it as big as the tap back? It is the Jeopardy succession issue. I don't know if you guys have been following the succession mess. Were you invested in getting the right host? So as you know, Alex Trebek, may he rest in peace, passed away. So they've been looking for someone to replace him on the show. Have you been following this, and what have you wanted from it?
So I've been lightly following this, but I will also say with, just total flattery that a lot of people in my feed think I should be the next Jeopardy host. You
would be perfect.
That was totally funny. And then there was actually a little bit of a war on my Twitter because someone was like, that is ridiculous. She's never won Jeopardy before. The only people that should be Jeopardy hosts are people that have won Jeopardy.
That's
I was
ridiculous.
like, well, you don't know anything about how anything works if you think that's how it works.
Yeah.
No one that has ever played the game should. I mean, that's just my feeling.
I agree. That's not how hosting. The quality, the skill required in hosting is vastly different than the skill required in winning that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's hosting, there's asking, and there's answering, and they are two different skills.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But I also feel in general that I feel like you should never try to cast like someone is stepping into that person's shoes, like we're finding the next, we're just going to like the sun kind of feeling. I think that's always failure. That poor person should never have to feel that. Like, this is a lateral move. The other person that could have done it. I feel like you go in a radically new direction. That's what you do. And you decide, and it's a risk. It's a risk.
Monet, what do you think?
Yeah, I was following it, and I was on the LeVar Burton train. I was like, let's just like change it up a little bit. Let's like get, a little fun. And LeVar obviously has the gravitas to be a Jeopardy host, and I was really on board for that. And then, put a little sazon, a little season up in the pot.
Yes.
But then it's got two white folks to do it. I was like, you know what? That's cool too. Good for them. It just seemed like such a really, predictable move.
I know.
Right.
It's
And
just
then
like,
some of the people that were in the running were Anderson Cooper, Robin Roberts, Aaron Rodgers, LeVar Burton, as you mentioned, Dr. Oz.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah, apparently he was in the mix. And then this is where the scandal erupted, which is that, so Sony basically said that Mayim Bialik, who we know from The Big Bang Theory and some I think Blossom from the 90s, was named as the host for the primetime spin-off events.
Right.
Oh.
But then the daily main host would be Mike Richards, who is actually the show's executive producer and the man who was in charge of finding Alex Trebek's replacement.
I mean, you see how that whole story worked all of a sudden. Don't you just, I mean, all of a sudden, do you not feel like Alex Trebek went into work every day just going like, that guy just wants to do the job. He should just do the job already. You know,
and then here's the weird thing. So Alex Trebek, I think, looks like he wanted Ken Jennings.
Right.
Like that's who he had really
championed.
And by the way, I think talk about like no one should host the fucking show who hasn't won it. I think Ken Jennings was like maybe the only person in the running that had, I don't know, I'm making this up, but I think he was the only person in the running who had actually won. But Ken Jennings hosted for like 6 weeks or whatever, and didn't make it. But this guy Mike Richards, I'll say he started out, this is unsurprising, as a stand-up comedian.
Oh dear.
Back in the day.
My God.
And then he went on and executive produced like a ton of, like he was supposed to do The Price is Right and they gave it to Drew Carey. And then they made him the executive producer. And he actually like did wonders for that show, revived it from the dead, yada, yada. And he's basically made his rounds in various game shows, like doing a great job. Like no one's saying he's not a great executive producer. He didn't have very much crossover with Alex Trebek. I think he EP'd the show for like 10 episodes or something before Trebek retired. And so that's also interesting. But it's just weird because he's an unknown who was running the process of finding the replacement.
Yeah, it's weird.
I know.
That's weird.
I know it's weird. And also just, listen, I'm not going to squash anyone's dreams. Clearly that guy's dreams, it sounds to me, not knowing him, his dream has always been to host a game show. And he finally kind of put himself in the position where he can step in.
Do that.
Without,
yeah.
And so part of you just goes, in a different world, you would just go, yeah. And in the world we live in right now, you just go, it cannot be that guy. We cannot, there's no way that it can be that guy.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people pointed out that like he basically Dick Cheney'd the situation. Yeah, and I completely forgot about this, but Dick Cheney was in charge of finding the VP pick for George W. Bush, and then he was like, "The VP pick is me." But I do think like I remember when Jon Stewart left The Daily Show, he had been there I don't know how long, maybe 19, 20 years, something like that.
Yeah,
and when they found his replacement, it was obviously Trevor Noah. I remember so many people were just like, of my friends, stopped watching The Daily Show.
Really?
Yeah, because I think they wanted another Jon Stewart, and that is not what you have to do something just completely different.
Agree.
And I think
100%.
actually The Daily Show audience probably changed, right? Like after that and found its own other people, and I'm sure everything's fine, whatever. Like obviously Trevor Noah, is beloved. But that I think is and I get it, right? You're like used to this thing. It's like in your home. It's Alex Trebek is a part of your family. Like he's in your living room every night.
Yep.
I get that feeling of you're just like, I want that thing, and I will tolerate that it is going to be in the shape of another person. So, but you can never get that, right?
Yep.
You can really almost never get that. So you really do have to just do what you said, Ophira, and just go for something completely different.
And everyone hates change. Just everyone hates change. And there's no way you can ever get around that. Even if you were like, well, we cloned Alex Trebek, but the voice is higher. They'd be like, I can't stand this high-voiced Alex Trebek.
Yeah,
people
so
just hate change. But then because there's a path. And then, like you said, much like with The Daily Show, there will be a transition period where everyone will hate. And then you'll either get used to it or you will find something else and it will just settle. And then it will become part of what is just like, well, that's what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But not that guy. Not that guy? Is that okay?
Anyone but him. Honestly,
Mike Richards.
My cat it could do it instead of that guy if they're interested.
No, I want to do the renewed Ophira Eisenberg campaign of. I just don't think this is settled either. You know, I think that like
settled.
It could easily just change. You know what I mean? Or who knows? I didn't know there was like a difference between the primetime host and the regular. I mean, sounds like. By the way, the average. Jeopardy's still a big deal. It averages 8.8 million viewers a week, which I didn't realize. Like, I guess I did realize it's still a very big deal. The viewers, 4 out of 5 viewers are over the age of 55. So it's it's very much the villages in Florida. Watching Jeopardy. All right, folks, that is the end of the show. What I would love for the people of Fake the Nation is to be able to follow you and all of the wonderful things you do. Ophira, where do they do that?
You could follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Ophira E. That's OPHIRAE. And then my website is just my full name, ophiraeisenberg.com, and it has tour dates and all the stuff. All the stuff.
So many tour dates, so many opportunities to see this woman perform live. You absolutely should. She just completely brings down the house every time. I've never seen her not. So you're in for a massive treat if you go out and see a live show. Monet Exchange. Where do people find you?
People can find me on all socials at Monet Exchange. That's MONET, the letter X, and the word change on Instagram, on Twitter. I've recently upped my TikTok game, and it's pretty fierce, I must say.
All right.
And also Sibling Rivalry Podcast. You can look that up, and to hear me and Bob the Drag Queen talk about everything from Black Lives Matter to why is the red Kool-Aid not the same flavor as it was 20 years ago. We talk about all the things. So
burning issues.
Good point.
That is the end of the show. So what I would really love to do is remind you guys to post a review on Apple Podcasts because it really helps people find the show. Oh my God. So thanks to everyone who's been doing that, and we'll resume reading those reviews next week. And also, don't forget to join Patreon. We've been having these wonderful, wonderful additional conversations on Patreon, bonus episodes of Fake the Nation. I've been sending out bonus essays, bonus music playlists of my summer jams. You can support the show at every level, $1, $4, $5 a month, and there's higher levels beyond that, but any way you can support the show would be great. You can go to patreon.com/Negin Farsad, and for those of you who have already been supporting, gosh, my heart swelleth, and I feel so supported. What I would really love to do, though, at this point, is to thank everyone who makes this show possible. That is our wonderful producer, Julia Linden, our fantastic audio engineers, Stephanie Aguilar, everybody at HeadGum, who is just honestly a delight. And our music, our grand, wonderful music, is written by the talented Gabi Alter. And again, post a review on Apple Podcasts or anywhere that you do your podcasting. Also, send us an email at fakethenation@headgum.com with any ideas you might have for guests or segments. I've gotten some fantastic emails from you guys, and we've been slowly doling out some of those ideas for topics. So keep them coming. I love them so much. And again, I will be back in your earballs next week.
That was a HeadGum podcast.